Chris Mannix back here on the Rich Eisen Show. What are you guys talking about? What are you laughing about here? What's happening?
Well, we're going to get to it later, but Mannix...
Go for it.
Mannix, no, it's a bigger conversation. Mannix just immediately pours cold water on a lot of our excitement, and, it's just... it's disappointing sometimes.
Excuse me. If you don't mind me speaking for
Please, your show.
The cold water on Tyson-Paul parade that he was pouring for weeks and months was spot on. What to use the phrase "dead balls accurate"? I mean, like what? You know what I mean?
Did Jake whisper in Mike's ear, "Do you want to get paid or not?" And that's why Mike stopped rushing him.
Yeah, that's right up there with the contract that he can't throw an uppercut conspiracy theory that made the rounds there as well.
Is that right? That made the rounds?
That made it. I think it was wasn't it your pal Michael Irvin that put that out into the universe?
He also told Jerry Jones hired Deion Sanders in the pre-fight show on Netflix.
Well, that is over my head. That is
and that didn't happen either. So is my point.
I'm just saying sometimes you guys can be kind of the group embodiment of like the Charlie Brown Lucy meme, where it's like something's out, like, oh, the football's there, I'm going to kick it, and then it's just gone. It disappears.
Yeah. And so you enjoy yanking the football
away. Yes.
Well, we should stop kicking, is what he's telling
More
us.
or less,
We should stop being teased by all these posters and promises of big events.
Just log off Twitter. You'll make your life better.
By the way, he's not wrong about that. Yeah. As you know, I've done that since November 5th. And it's been, life has been phenomenal.
Yeah. You're missing a lot.
Huh? I'm sure I am. All right. I'm missing NBA Twitter, which is always very entertaining. Okay. So what did he pour water on? I was focused on something else.
So yesterday, let's just get right to it. So yesterday, the Paul brothers posted a poster of them like
the moment you've been waiting for
so
March 27th.
This leads me to believe. And while we're back on the radio, this makes me to believe that they're going to fight each other.
So what we're looking at, by the way, we've got Chris Mannix here. Leave it up on the screen. Jake Paul tweeted out the moment you waited a decade for.
Yes.
Who? Is this they're going to fight each other?
No, that's what they want you to believe by posting this. Logan posted it as well. Tens of millions of people saw it. Tens of millions of people believed in the 3 or 4 hours it was up there that it was going to be a fight. It's not. From what I've been told, it's a reality series featuring the two. And even if you didn't have that information, all you would have to do is pull up a calendar and note that I believe March 27th is a Thursday, not your typical boxing night. Also, the same weekend as March Madness, which you probably wouldn't put a big-time event on a Warner Brothers Discovery platform anyway. So
interesting. So a documentary is going to come out.
I don't think it's a
tournament.
documentary, much as a reality series. I'm a little vague on the specifics, but it's something involving the two of them that does not involve them putting on gloves and punching each other.
Because for
would you really want to see that? The Pauls fight each other?
Yes. And for a long time, we wanted the Klitschkos to fight each other, right? And that obviously was never going to happen.
No, I used to ask them that when they were at their peak. And Vladimir said when they were younger, they sparred together, but it was always messy. And you're never going to get the best out of somebody if you're having them punch a family member, much less punch a brother.
Who would win if they did like a boxing tag team match, the Klitschkos versus the Pauls?
The Klitschkos would win because they're
former
former heavyweight champions of the world.
Wouldn't that be fun to watch? I mean, they're also like almost 50.
Yeah, but I was with Vladimir probably 6 months ago. He still looks like he's in fighting shape. Vitaly, meanwhile, is the mayor of Kiev and doing some kind of important things over there.
I understand. We can take a little bit of break to fight these two guys.
By the
way,
way,
put them in their place.
We need to create a new meme here. You know the meme of who is it? Dwayne Wade going like this while LeBron dunks behind him, right? So we need to put your face on Dwayne Wade, or are you Dwayne Wade and he's dunking on somebody because he just loves to dunk on you guys. Man.
I know.
Well, you in particular. I shouldn't drag you into this, TJ.
Just me. He doesn't want us to be happy, and that saddens me.
No, you're just a realist, right?
I'm just trying to measure your expectations. That's all I was trying to do with Tyson-Paul. Like, just measure your expectations. I couldn't do that. You went into that thinking we're going to get Tyson versus Trevor Berbick, but we didn't. We got exactly what I thought we were
so close, and then Paul whispered in his ear, "Do you want to get paid or not?"
Yes, there we go. Let's throw that into the conspiracy.
Chris Mannix here on the Rich Eisen Show. All right, what's going on with Jimmy Butler and the Heat? I know that's an open-ended question, but what is happening?
So,
what is happening? He pissed Pat Riley off, and Pat's just like, I'm in charge.
Well, yeah, he's been doing that for a month now. The latest twist, though, with the suspension for walking out of shoot-around, which is an indefinite suspension, strategically said by the Heat to be at least 5 games, which takes them up to the February 6th trade deadline, ensuring that he will not be back until the deadline comes and goes. That is, from what I've been told, that's been a needle mover. Because if you had asked me the question on Friday, if Jimmy Butler would be with Miami beyond the trade deadline, my answer would have been yes. Because the asking price for Butler around the league has been pretty high. It's been some combination of draft picks, young players. They don't want any contracts that go beyond 2026 when their books are relatively clean, except for Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero. So teams weren't, that deal wasn't out there for them. Since this latest suspension, when I talk to other teams around the league, the sense they're getting is that price has gone down, meaning maybe a little less draft capital, a little less in terms of young talent. They still want the contracts to come off the books. They want to maintain that cap flexibility, but the asking price has gone down to the point where I think that one way or the other, come February 5th or February 6th in the morning, they're going to find a way to move Jimmy Butler off the roster.
What started this thing?
Money. It's always money. I mean, well, at least with Jimmy, it's been money. Look, you go into last offseason, Jimmy Butler is eligible for a 2-year, $113 million extension. He's still eligible for that right now. They could offer it today, and he could sign it. The Heat didn't want to do it. And I completely understand why. Like, they're not in a place where signing Jimmy Butler, who would begin that extension at age 37, makes any sense to them. Look, Jimmy has been a phenomenal player for them in the postseason during this kind of 5-year run with Miami, but the last couple of years, he's been injured. He's had some clashes with Pat Riley. There's no reason for Miami, which is building its roster around a group of mid-20-somethings like Bam Adebayo and Tyler and Jaime Jaquez as well, why they would give him that type of extension. So Butler could have done one of two different things. He could have just played hard, tried to prove he was worth the extension, just put his head down and play. Or he could do the George Costanza, which is, I'm going to try to get my way out of here one way or the other. And he's kind of done that. Like he's
taken the morning train?
He's forced Miami's hand, and he's put them in this position where they're probably going to have to deal him for 50 cents on the dollar, if that's what it comes to. But this is entirely about money. It's not about winning. It's not about where you want to live. It's not about whatever situation. Jimmy Butler wants to go to the place that is going to gives him the best chance of landing that 2-year extension on his next deal.
Kevin Love's Instagram feed.
Phenomenal. His content is king.
He is on fire right now with his daily video clips describing what's happening with Jimmy Butler and the Heat. I cannot emphasize how entertaining Kevin Love's Instagram feed is over the last couple of weeks.
He's pulling scenes out of every movie. Yeah, right? Casino, Godfather, I think, was in that mix.
Oh my God.
Training Day was yesterday.
Training Day, yeah, that was a good one. Training Day was right after he left shoot around before. I mean, I don't like look, Kevin Love's now at the back end of his career on basically a minimum contract. He's just having a good time now with this situation.
I'll just come out. Obviously, I have my ear to the ground in the business. I'm hearing Amazon's interested in hiring him for the NBA. If that's something he wants to do and go into television, and his Instagram account is as brilliant as it. But it does appear to be accurate too, right? Like all of it appears to be pretty much dead on accurate.
I think it is accurate. Right. I think he's making light of a situation that isn't really that light, though, inside the Miami walls. I mean, look, the Heat, for a lot of reasons, they need to make the playoffs this year because, it's kind of complicated to get into, but like their draft capital, if they make the playoffs, their first-round draft pick conveys to Oklahoma City, like every pick.
Nice.
But if it doesn't convey, it kind of makes things more difficult for this team to do deals down the line because they also owe a first-round pick to Charlotte in a couple of years. So they want to find a way to get into that playoff mix. And the uncertainty surrounding Jimmy Butler is really complicated now. Like even without Jimmy Butler, they still have a pretty good chance of making a run at the postseason. You saw they beat the Magic the other night. They're a good, they're a solid team when they're at full strength without Butler, but they can't have this distraction infecting their team beyond this February 6th deadline.
So then where does he go? Where does he wind up, do you think?
Look, Phoenix is the team that desperately wants him. And Phoenix is the team Jimmy Butler wants to go to because Matt Ishbia, the owner of the Phoenix Suns, is the most likely of the 30 owners to give him a 2-year extension because Matt Ishbia is all in on winning a championship or at least competing for one with Kevin Durant, with Devin Booker, with the current group of players there. The problem is that Bradley Beal is maybe the most untradeable player in the NBA right now because he's got 2 years, over $100 million left on his contract after this season. He's also got a no-trade clause, so if you're Bradley Beal and they turn around and say, all right, we got a deal where we can get Jimmy Butler, I'm going to trade Bradley Beal to Charlotte. Bradley Beal's going to say no. But what I've been told with Beal is that unless he's being traded to a contender, he is going to veto that trade. So the Phoenix wants him. Miami would like to trade him there, but there really isn't much of a pathway for that to happen. Now, with the asking price going down, it has opened things up to some other teams. I think Golden State is probably going to get back into the mix here. I think Memphis is a team to watch because they have a lot of the things that the Heat are looking for when it comes to short contracts, decent young talent, draft picks. So I think the pool has widened a little bit over the last 48 hours, and I think Miami's going to choose from one of those teams to trade him to.
So you think it's going to get done?
I do, and I don't know that it's going to get done to a place that Jimmy Butler necessarily wants to go to, right? Like and I've reported this in the past, like he's been telegraphing that, Memphis don't want to go there. Sacramento don't want to go there. But it may just, teams may say, you know what? We'll take a flyer on him this year. If he wants to opt out of his contract at $52 million next year, well, that's the price we pay. I actually think Memphis is a good destination for him.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. I hear you.
Memphis was all in on Dorian Finney-Smith for a while. The Lakers jumped in and wound up getting him. They need a wing defender, proven guy in the postseason. You think about the grit and grind Grizzlies. They're a little bit different than what they used to be, but they still have got Ja Morant and Desmond Bane and Jaren Jackson. They've got some tough physical guys on that team. Jimmy would fit right into that culture down there. I mean, if I'm Memphis and I'm sitting there, I think they're 2-3 right now in the Western Conference. If the price is right, I would take a swing at Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, I think that led to a Scarface posting from Kevin Love in response to Jimmy's not going to go to Memphis.
He's enjoying himself. I'll give him that.
Gosh. I've got Chris Mannix here on the Rich Eisen Show. Why is De'Aaron Fox available for trade?
Well, this to me is less complicated.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, De'Aaron Fox has a year and a half left on his contract. And all he's said, all his people have telegraphed, is that he's not going to sign an extension this summer. And if you want to come up with a comparison, it's kind of a page that's being taken out of the Anthony Davis playbook. When Anthony Davis was in New Orleans leading up to the trade deadline, I think in 2019, his representatives, made it clear that he wasn't going to sign an extension with the Pelicans. Well within his right. You don't have to sign an extension anywhere. But that decision has the same weight as a trade demand. Because if you're not going to sign an extension, a team would be crazy to hold on to this asset that could bring back a bunch of pieces in return. So De'Aaron Fox has made that clear to Sacramento. And I think this is just about De'Aaron Fox looking at the next 5 years of his career and saying, you know what? I don't think we're going to win. Like, we had a brief window there, it seemed like 2 years ago. We were 48 wins. We were third in the Western Conference. It looked like we were a team on the rise. Since then, it's kind of all come undone at the seams. Mike Brown is gone. The signing of DeMar DeRozan didn't really work. I think De'Aaron Fox is saying, look, if I have a chance to push my way to, say, San Antonio and be Victor Wembanyama's wingman for the next 10 years, that sounds pretty good to me. Houston, Fox is from the Houston area. If they get into the mix, I can play point guard alongside Ahmed Thompson and Jalen Green and Alperen Sengun, all the young players they have. I don't really have much of a problem with De'Aaron Fox doing what he did. Like, you're not required to stay with one team in one city for the rest of his career. He's playing pretty good basketball. Like, he's not giving up on this team. It's disappointing for Sacramento, but it's well within De'Aaron Fox's rights to say, I'm not going to sign an extension with you guys.
How is Pop? I haven't heard. I mean, I know
they play that real close to the vest.
I know.
Yeah.
He just had his 76th birthday, so they're Any idea?
Not. There's been no indication of if or when he's going to come back. I mean, look, I've talked to people that are usually really close to the Spurs organization, and they're not getting a whiff of exactly kind of what's going on there. I think, and this is just what people around the league maybe would like to see.
Yes.
Like, they'd love to see Pop find a way to come back, if he's healthy, before the end of the year, get some more games under his belt, finish the right way, finish his coaching career the right way, and then hand the reins off to, whether it's their current coach or somebody else, the next generation of coaching the team, and still maintain a role within the Spurs. He's still running things, organizationally. That's what a lot of people I've talked to would like to see happen.
So, man, not to just obviously speculate, but the sense that he's going to be the guy to be Wembanyama's Sherpa and coach for the first several years of his stellar career is like, what, a pipe dream at this point?
Yeah, I mean, look, it was always, a little pie in the sky to think he was going to be there for all the formative years, given his age and kind of where he's at in his life. Look, he's. If this is the last of Gregg Popovich, I think he's done the job. Like, he guided Wembanyama through that first year with the team. There's some ups and downs. Took him on early in this season. Mm-hmm. I wrote about Wembanyama before the start of the season, and some of the decisions that Pop helped to make or facilitate, like working with a Jamal Crawford and some of the things he did in the offseason, have helped Wembanyama continue to grow his game. So, look, his legacy was secure long before Wembanyama arrived in San Antonio, but he's certainly done a lot to help develop him up until this point.
So, before I let you go, the trade deadline story we haven't hit that you think we should keep an eye out for, or there really isn't one because there's not many pieces that can be moved?
I think that's the difficult part. Look, I think Butler's going to get moved one way or the other because Miami's done with this.
Right.
Fox, though, could extend into the offseason because I don't believe if it's the Spurs that want to get him, and I can see them wanting to take a swing there. Mm-hmm. I don't think you're going to get their best offer right now because there's no real urgency in San Antonio. This is their honeymoon year. Like, let's try to get to 500. Let's try to make a run at the play-in, and then we'll figure everything out in the offseason. And all the other potential teams like the Clippers, Lakers, Heat, they don't have the assets that would blow Miami or blow Sacramento away. So I think that could bleed into the offseason. And the other guys that are, potentially available, like a Zach LaVine, makes a ton of money. He's got $90-something million owed the next 2 years. That's a difficult contract to move. Nikola Vucevic in Chicago is another guy attracting interest, but that's a tough guy to move. I think before the deadline, the guys that are most likely to be dealt, you're looking at Cam Johnson, who, if you can get a couple of first-round picks, I think the Nets would probably move him. Jonas Valanciunas in Washington, Walker Kessler, someone in Utah, generous. You're talking about rotation players. Like at least for now, I don't think the stars are going to get moved before the deadline.
Okay. And then just the general sense of the NBA as we're reaching the deadline, and then obviously the All-Star game.
The crowded field of slam dunk contest. If there was ever a year to just nuke the slam dunk contest, like, this is it.
This is
like
it.
This, like, no disrespect to the Mac McClungs of the world who's going for like a three-peat now, and I admire these guys for what they're doing, but I don't know why the NBA keeps this up. If you can't get anyone to compete in it, like Zach LaVine teased on social media this week, like, now, maybe I should get back into it.
Dude, the problem is that the NBA can't get some of these guys to compete in the regular season. That's the issue. And I understand. I understand that it's a physical game. I get it, but the number of star players that do not play. I mean, I took my son to the Clipper game the other day. 80 points. Period. Were on the bench. And they did almost beat the Celtics. It was a very entertaining game.
They got a good one there. Yeah, it's overtime.
I know that, but we want to see the stars, man. And a lot of stars just back-to-back games. This is some sort of a management issue. Honestly, like, there's kind of an issue with that sort of thing with the regular season. It's been an issue. I don't know. It's gotten better. They can't. Right? It has.
It has gotten better. Like the NBA's, especially. Look, if you'd taken your kids to the Laker game, you would have seen all the stars because the NBA makes it clear to teams that you got to play on national TV games. Like that's.
I don't know. I should have hoped that the ESPN was televising that Wednesday nighter.
I don't blame you for. I don't blame people being frustrated. You're paying real money. It's like the cost of tickets and how much you pay for parking it into it. $70, something like that. I mean,
it's not cheap.
Like it's not cheap for.
It's not just that though. Of course it is for many reasons. It's just why should I? I mean, Dan Patrick, our buddy, has said it multiple times. Why should I care if it comes across that they don't? That hey, it does. We don't need you. Like, let's give Kawhi an extra night off for 3 nights in a row, as opposed to 2, and then another night because we're back to back. Because we got to save him for March and April. But I should go see you in January. You know what I mean? Like that's an issue. I
get that. I'd put Kawhi in a bucket unto himself because they're just like. He played the whole entire fourth quarter the other day which was like a cause for celebration with the Clippers. Like
I know.
Like he's the guy they've got to kind of duct tape together. But like. Using like Boston, for example, like the Jason Tatums of the world, the Jalen Browns of the world.
Hey,
like
man, they played. They played. They played
every game.
If you're like under the age of 30, you should be playing and not injured.
Yeah.
You should be playing till the wheels come off.
That's what I'm thinking.
There's an obligation there. I do agree with that.
You do see some like 24, 25-year-olds that are again, we're in a fantasy league. The number of times that we're all complaining about who's playing tonight and who's not. It is part and parcel.
I mean, I don't really know what else you can do from a league level. Like you've changed the rules on award voting.
No doubt.
You got to get to 65 games, which is a number they should get to without injury pretty easily. You've told teams, like, don't screw around with the nationally televised games.
Right.
Like, I don't know what else the league can do to legislate against all this. It ultimately comes down to the player and the teams to make these decisions.
Chris Mannix, thanks for coming in here. Greatly appreciate it. Let me know when you're back in town.
Anytime.
You're an anytime guest right here in studio. Everybody check out Chris Mannix's work. Wherever he's writing or podcasting or appearing, including this show where he throws cold water on Chris Brockman's inane boxing takes.
Brutal.
I just want to be excited about it. I want to feel, Chris.
You just want Pauls to hit each other. That's what you want. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.